All right, if you're tackling FCMP, you already know that performance management is it's a huge and critical topic. So today, we're going to build the complete blueprint for it, a logical framework you can use to not only ace your exams, but also apply in the real world. Let's get right into it.
So how does a massive company really know if it's winning? I mean, is it just about profit? Well, as you can see here, the answer is a big fat no. It's not just about financial metrics like ROI anymore. Modern performance management is this complex dashboard, right? It's pulling in non-financial models like the balanced scorecard, and it's thinking about social factors with the triple bottom line. And trust me, exam questions are going to expect you to think way beyond the profit and loss statement. So understanding this big picture, that's absolutely step one. Okay, to make sense of all that complexity, we need a clear roadmap. So here's what we're doing. We'll start by unpacking a really powerful four-stage blueprint that's going to lead us right into the critical link between structure and responsibility. From there, we'll see how to identify and track success, and we'll finish with a super quick recap of the key concepts you absolutely must know.
And here it is. This is the core of our explainer today, a practical four-stage blueprint. I want you to think of this as the essential framework for building any effective performance management system literally from the ground up.
So here it is, the four-stage solution, your fundamental how-to guide. Step 1, you figure out the organizational structure. Step 2, you identify who is responsible for what. Step 3, you establish how you're going to measure success. And Step 4, you review that performance and you take action. See, it's a logical cycle that just keeps repeating and refining itself.
Let's dive into those first two stages, shall we? Structure and responsibility. The logic here is so simple, but it's absolutely crucial. You can't measure performance if you don't know who's responsible for it. And you can't assign responsibility if you don't have a clear structure in the first place.
Which brings us to stage 1, organizational structure. And here is a critical link you need for your exams. Performance measurement is fundamentally tied to structure. It's just like the slide says, without a clear, solid structure, any attempt at accountability is just gonna crumble. You simply can't hold someone accountable if their role isn't clearly defined. It's that simple. Now, once you have that clear structure, it paves the way for stage 2, responsibility accounting. This is the engine that actually drives accountability. It's the system for collecting, summarizing, and reporting information in a way that links performance directly to the manager in charge. It's how you make delegated control a reality. This case study illustrates the point perfectly. Look at Company X. It's totally centralized. Decisions come from the top, so, responsibility accounting doesn't have much use. But Company Y, it's decentralized. It empowers its managers. For them, responsibility accounting is absolutely essential. It's how they track how each part of the business is doing and hold those managers accountable. The big takeaway here is this: structure dictates the tools you can use.
So, what do we call these units that managers are responsible for? Well, the key exam term is a responsibility center. And here's the formal definition from Deacon and Marr, which is a great one to have in your back pocket. A specific unit of an organization assigned to a manager who is held responsible for its operation and resources. This could be a cost center, a profit center, you name it.
Now, here's a cool thing. These centers aren't static. They can actually evolve. Let's take a simple real-world example. Think about a faculty department at a university. Initially, its main job is teaching, right? That mostly just incurs costs, so it's a classic cost center. But what happens if that same department starts taking on some external consulting projects, or maybe running paid management development programs? All of a sudden, it's not just costing money, it's generating its own revenue. And just like that, it is transformed into a profit center. This really shows how a change in activity and responsibility completely changes the classification.
Okay, so we've laid the foundation with structure and responsibility. Now we get to the really interesting part, the tools of measurement in stages 3 and 4. This is where we define what success actually looks like, and more importantly, how we track it.
So stages 3 and 4 are this continuous cycle. It all starts by identifying what's truly vital for success. We call these critical success factors, or CSFs. Then you set specific metrics to track them, known as key performance indicators, or KPIs. Finally, you use those KPIs to evaluate performance, and if you're off track, you take corrective action.
Let's break that down, because this is important. A critical success factor, a CSF, it's not a number. It's a goal. It's an area that is absolutely vital for you to win in. Let's think about a professional sports team. A key CSF for them would be something like Player fitness. You just can't win without it, right? It's a broad, critical area of focus. So if the CSF is player fitness, what's the KPI? Well, the KPI is the specific measurement. It's the instrument you use to see if you're achieving that CSF. For our sports team, KPIs might be things like average sprint speed, body fat percentage, or vertical jump height. They are the hard numbers, the signals that tell you how you're performing in that critical area.
This quote right here, this is probably the single most important sentence for telling these two terms apart in your exam. CSFs are the areas that are critical, whereas KPIs are signals of performance in such areas. It's so simple. CSFs are the what, and KPIs are the how we measure it. You have to burn that distinction into your memory.
All right, let's lock all that knowledge in. We're going to do a quick-fire recap of the 3 most important definitions we've covered today. Think of it like a memory drill. You ready?
First up, responsibility center. What is it? It's a unit assigned to a manager who's held responsible for its operations and resources. Got it?
Next, CSF, critical success factor. The key word here, vital. These are the areas where you absolutely must win. It's the what.
And finally, KPI, key performance indicator, the keyword measure. These are the signals, the instruments you use within those critical areas. It's the how we measure it. So there you have it, the complete 4-stage blueprint. Start with structure, assign responsibility, define your critical success factors, and measure them with key performance indicators. It's a powerful loop. Which brings us to a final thought for you. If you were the CEO of a company right now, what would be the #1 CSF you would focus on for survival and growth in today's economy? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining this explainer.